Greetings, Inquisitor. I'm glad you found this holocron. This is a special edition of the Darth Loquitur account updates for week 52. The account is 1 year old. For any who aren't familiar, I go through my account updates. I show what I'm working on, what I plan to work on, share my results in Grand Arena, and try to help other people learn how to build a good account. This account's been in progress for 1 year now, so we're going to take a lot of time today. We're going to look at the account. We're going to recap everything that's happened for the first year. We're going to talk about what went well, what maybe would do differently if I did the account build again in the future. And I want your comments down below, so let's just start out the video by saying, if you've been watching these updates for any part of that 1 year, let me know below, for better, for worse, what you've learned by watching me play this account, watching me build this account. Has it helped? Has it taught you things that you shouldn't do and you avoided the same mistakes that I made? Whatever you think, I'd love to hear your feedback down below regarding these account updates. So with that, let's just go take a quick look at where the account is today. So we do have 17 relics right now. We did build all the requirements for the Sith Eternal Emperor. You can see across the top row here, we've got Darth Vader, Palpatine, Jedi Knight Anakin, and Enfys Nest. And then a bunch of characters that are requirements for C, like the troopers. And we do have a Geo Spy that's relicked in there, and a Snow Trooper. And of course, Enfys Nest isn't part of the build. Then we get down into some of the other characters. Of course, Bosk is part of that Houndstooth ship that we love so much and we need for fleets. Then we've also got Grandmaster Yoda in here that we built up to have a presence in our Jedi team. We built Mon Mothma, Ahsoka Tano. Queel has been an interesting little character for me. I built him up and I put him with weaker characters, scoundrels and such that benefit from his ability. And he boosts the whole team up. And it's been a nice little defense for me in Grand Arena for the price of one character. We also built Moff Gideon. He's gear 12 now. We'll relic him in the future so that we can pull him in on the Rancor raid. The Geos are at minimum gear level for Wat Tambor mission. We're going to leave him there for a while. We do have Jolie Bindo built, and we're working our way toward the JKR event at some point in the future. Then we've got some Rebel fighters here, especially the ones for Cassian's U-Wing. I built them because I wanted that ship. Then we've got some leftovers here at the bottom with the Phoenix that we had to build, of course, to get Thrawn and Palpatine up and running. We've got some droids for Grievous, just the Magna Guard and the B1 so far, starting to work on them for a little 3v3 team. And then we'll build a couple more going into 5v5, and we'll build some kind of team with Grievous as a big character and a bunch of other small characters. We've got Plo, of course, for his ship. We've got Wat Tambor down here as one of the best plug-and-play characters in the game. We've got Vandor Chewbacca that we're experimenting around with, and then from there on out, it's just a bunch of little characters. We did have to build some of these for Conquest events, and quite a few of them. Down here at the bottom, you'll see we have built up to 7 stars at level 1, and those characters had a bunch of character shards, and we just took them to 7 stars. Not really because we wanted to build them as a character yet, but we just wanted to cash in all of those extra shards in the shard shop for that currency to help us build our characters more quickly. We do have a couple more down here like Clone Wars, Chewie, and Talia that are building up quite a lot of shards. When they get enough to motivate me to close out the Galactic power, then I'll take them to 7 stars, and we'll get that. We'll get those shards over to the shard shop for the future. If I arrange the account by speed, we talk about mods a lot, so we're going to take a look at the fastest characters that we've got in the account right now. So we do have Piet at 334 speed, plus 155. It's pretty good. It doesn't have a lot of other stats, just mostly focused on getting his speed maxed out. And that's been very useful for the troopers. We get to go first a lot with our troopers, so that's awesome. 313 on the Stark. And that's the speed that we need to be to link up with Piet and make sure that we don't drop any time between our first and second characters while we get that turn meter train rolling. Thrawn's sitting right at 300 with plus 130. It's the mod set there could be improved. We'll probably try to get Thrawn a little faster in the future. We do still have a really fast mod set on the Spy, have him at 290 speed. And those mods are just parked until we find a character where we want those speed mods. Speed on Darth Vader is 288. As most people know, Darth Vader is a very greedy character, and he needs all kinds of stats. So you can see that we're trying to optimize a bunch of different stats across all of what Vader's doing. So he's got some bonus health, protection, speed, critical damage. His potency is boosted quite a bit to 94. The little bit of tenacity in there doesn't matter. And then you see we've got some offense in there to get his damage up. Taking a look at his mods, we've got potency, of course, on the cross, and then we're just focused on speed, main stats on these other mods. And you can see that generally we have a lot of mods that are in good shape. We've got these 6-dotted. We're working on 6-dot slicing for a lot of them. This one we'll hit a slice on again to see if we can get more speed. It gets more offense, which is okay, but we don't get much out of it. And that's really all we're going to do with the account this week. With the rest, 288 speed here on Moff Gideon. With the rest, we're just sitting and waiting because we are going to get the Sith Eternal Emperor unlocked here shortly. And I don't want to use any gear at all. I want to be able to predict the gear, know what I've got, and then hopefully we can very reliably just go straight to gear 13 if I can get enough pieces for the relic levels. Going to ships, one important thing that I want to point out, we are doing fantastic in fleet in both fleet arena as well as in grand arena. It always feels like we've got plenty of power on defense and plenty of power on offense. And I only have, I almost have 2 million galactic power on this account now, and there are only 2 relic ships. And because of the synergy on Geos, we don't need to have as much invested in them. And we're doing quite well for only having 2 relic ships. Now, I would like to relic that Hound's Tooth at some point, but so far it hasn't been the key between winning and losing. So a lot of people talk to me a lot about fleets and how to win. It is a lot about picking your targets, turn order, not giving turn meter to the enemy's Hound's Tooth, those kinds of things. Because like I said, we're winning a lot with only 2 relic level ships in our entire fleet, and it feels dominant to me in both Grand Arena and fleet. We do have the Imperial TIE Bomber there, pilotless ship at 6 stars. We've got the Executrix in good shape. We did build the Negotiator to 7 stars, which is good, and it was planned. And we got the Malevolence to 5 stars. There was an event. We got a whole bunch of Malevolence shards. So the Malevolence came along much faster than I expected. And if people watch this in the future and say, oh, at 1 year already you have a 7-star and a 5-star premium fleet, well, probably wouldn't have had the Malevolence except for that event. So that did help us along quite a bit on that ship. We probably would have been close to the unlock, but probably would still be, 50, 60 shards short of where we needed to be to get that ship. So that's good. That's the account update. Now let's go into the fun stuff and talk a lot about what's happened over the past year in this account. Just to update the stats so that I have it in this video, it is week 52. We're at 1.899. I went ahead and took the liberty of rounding that up to 1.9 million galactic power. We did add almost 100,000 since week 50, but remember, we reliced our last 2 characters. We brought all of the C requirement characters up to their final relic levels, and that added a bunch of galactic power. Honestly, I really thought it was going to add more. But in addition to that, we did start Grievous. We did open up the Malevolence capital ship and invest in that. So knowing that we did a ship, another Gear 11 character, 2 more relics, and brought up all those relic levels, I was really surprised at how little galactic power that it added. I felt like that was going to add just tons of galactic power, but it wasn't. It wasn't too bad. So we got all those up to level, and we've started with the C event. We, at this point, have done all of the level 1 8 times through level 1 with Palpatine, or let's say Darth Sidious. And we were able to do that without putting the Zeta on Darth Sidious, so that was nice. We have 17 relics, 24 Zetas, and of course we'll pop up to 30 Zetas as soon as we get C unlocked, we'll have to put 6 Zetas on him. We have those saved up and ready to go. On Squad Arena, we're still top 100 with the troopers. I can get top 50 if I really try, but typically I just play a couple battles and stay in the top 100. Negotiator with top 5, first place usually every day that I really try. The project that we have right now, it's kind of complicated to say because we need to unlock C and then we need to farm up the tokens for his ultimate ability. So I'm giving myself 3 weeks to close out both of those things. So I plan to have C with his ultimate on. I think maybe we can get it in week 54, but that might be pushing it. So I'm going to go ahead and say week 55 to have the character and his ult. For next week, for the farming, we're just working on Dark Side Energy to get the C tokens. We'll make sense of that with what gear we need. In Fleet, we're doing Zalbar and Shock T. In the Cantina, we're still farming signal data. We're also going after mission a little bit in the background. And then, of course, we have Qui-Gon to buy out of the shop. Our next project is going to be Galactic Legend Kenobi, so we need to get Qui-Gon going at some point. Mods, we're going to go back to farming speed. Refreshes, 3 on mods, 3 on energy, 3 on fleet. And we're trying to manage our Cantina energy. We have been spending a lot of crystals on trying to get Commander Ahsoka Tano out of Conquest, and I've been getting the crystals for that simply by not spending as much on Cantina refreshes. I probably will have to go back to doing those Cantina refreshes and hope that once I get Sith Eternal and better placement in Squad Arena, that the additional crystals over there are going to start funding those extra cat shards that I want to get out of Conquest. So it's a little bit of a balance, and we'll see how that is going forward. In Squad Arena store, we're buying prestige once a day. We still have to finish out that Malevolence capital ship, and then we'll just keep doing it because we'll need to build another capital ship. We'll need 4 fleets by the time we hit 3 million. At the current rate, we put on enough galactic power. We're doing 2 million a year is 1 million every 6 months, so we should hit that 3 million mark potentially within the next 6 months. I think it'll slow down now, but we'll see. We'll see how that all goes. Galactic War Store, I need to pick up Cad Bane, and then Fleet Store, we're using that for Grievous. Rex is 170. They're still working on the Umbran shards. And then, of course, the extra Zeta materials that you can get out of that shop whenever we have extra. So we'll talk a little bit more about that Fleet Store later. Everything else we're using to feed the shard shop. So at 6 months, I did an update, and just to recap, I'm just going to go all the way back to the beginning on this. So the 6-month update, I put this slide in. So on October 24th of 2020, I started this alt account, and the whole idea was on my main account, I'd started it up. All the games I'd played up to this point rewarded you for having a big roster. So I right away started trying to 7-star all kinds of characters, build Night Sisters, build Jedi, build Geos, build everything. And I very quickly bloated my account to a pretty massive level. I started working on like every ship in the game. And once I figured out that was punishing me for my Grand Arena matchups, then I started thinking about, I should have done things differently. And after about a year of playing my main account, I started an alt account with the idea that maybe I could do it differently, be more efficient with my galactic power. I wanted an account that would be fun to play in all the different game modes, and I focused my expectations on getting good fleet placement and doing well in Grand Arena, and by doing well, I mean getting Kyber. I didn't intend to try to win Grand Arena with this account. That was never the purpose. I wanted an account that was fun to play, manage a galactic power, and get my crystal income out of fleet and do well in Grand Arena. And in lockstep with that, I said, I don't care what I do in Squad Arena. I just don't care. Until I get a Galactic Legend, I'm not even going to worry about my placement. It's just will be what it will be. I said top 500 at first would be nice, and then maybe I could move my way up into top 100. I don't know. But I set my expectations moderate because I didn't want to chase the characters and do foolish things trying to win Squad Arena like I did on my main account. So 3 weeks after I started my account, CG announced that they would be doubling the shard drops for the characters that were considered old characters, you know, traditional, not the last 1 year of marquee characters, but everything else would be getting double drops. And I felt like that was a game changer. Like, I just started this account, they were going to double the shard drops, and I was in a unique position to have a new account that would benefit from those changes almost from the start. So I thought, well, you know what? Let's start making some videos and let's see how the progress goes. So on November 15th, I made my first video. I put it on the channel. I had this idea that someday it might be fun for me to look back or for other players to look and just see how the account was built. You know, maybe somebody'd be interested in it from Grand Arena. I had pretty low expectations. I just threw up a video and started tracking the progress of the account. So all the way back to the start, let's look at how that looked. So what I said was the whole idea was going to be efficiency, efficient use of energy, gems, and all the special currencies that we get for the shop, and just try to build the most characters the best way for the time that we build, right? So that's what efficiency is. It's the best use of materials over time. We were going to optimize for Fleet Arena and use the Fleet Arena wins to buy Zeta materials. My original thought and this is important, we'll talk about this again later. I thought just maximize fleet currency, get into that shop, buy the Zeta materials with every single stitch of currency that we got, and just Zeta, Zeta, Zeta. Because there's really no way in the game to get Zetas except through playing the game, which is, you know, certain events that happen over time. But if you want to do better than what you're time limited to do, the only way to do that is to buy them out of the fleet store. So that was the plan. Focus all the fleet currency right there on the Zeta materials. We were going to minimize our galactic power by building fewer characters, maximize our GAC potential by having good characters that were like solo characters or, you know, one really good character in a team. And we wanted to build towards some early legendaries to try to close out some of those meta teams and really get good, effective teams. So we said, what teams are we going to use? So we thought about defensive teams, and we thought about offensive teams, and we started out with targeting six teams all at once. And I thought you could build 6 teams all at once, but in retrospect, you really can't. You can build 2. You can work on 2 projects at once, is what I found. And then you can work on 2 background projects, you know, just have something going on in the background is fine. But 1 or 2 teams is really all you can focus on. But the idea that we were going to build toward was this Sith Trooper wall. I had a lot of success with the red Sith Trooper on my main account. It was a fun character to play. All kinds of different uses, could handle Geos early with the Zeta on it. And there's a lot of good Sith in the game. So what I was planning to do was just build a big Kylo Ren unmasked, hide a bunch of Sith behind him with the Sith Trooper. And it's an interesting little team because Kylo taunts, he's hard to kill. And all of these other characters, when they get crits, the Sith Trooper assists. And it's a harder defense to get through than most people think. They underestimate it and lose. So we were planning to build that. And a lot of these characters also can be used for events. So the idea was qualify for events with the Sith, use the Sith Trooper, and make a team out of it. The Geos, I like the Geos. Some people don't like the Geos, but I've had a lot of success with them. They have a good fleet. They have a standing as characters. And yes, there's a lot of things that beat them in Grand Arena. But once you put them down on defense, then your opponent has to beat them. And you already know a Vader or something else good is going to be used. Now, Vader wasn't that good at this point in time. But anyway, plan to build the Geos. And then I did plan to build the Rebels and work toward Commander Luke Skywalker. So there you see kind of the initial farm for that. On the offensive side, we were going to go for troopers with Stormtrooper and Death Trooper, which is a very traditional PvP style team. So we were going to go for that. And then just with the idea of some teams or solos, when I built my main account, I used Boba Fett for a long time in a 2-man team, just Bosk and Boba Fett, and I beat a lot of stuff with just Bosk and Boba Fett. But I did have a pretty big commitment to Boba Fett early. He was one of my first characters that I got to gear 12 early on. So I think it kind of misled me into thinking Boba Fett was a better character than he really is. But due to my success on the main account with that character, I figured I would build him again. Bossk and the Houndstooth, Jango Fett, and then Darth Vader for quests, and then Enfys Nest. So these are characters that could be mixed or matched into other teams, go solo. If you build a relic level Bossk early on and put him on defense, it's already a team by himself. It doesn't matter what you put with him. So that was some ideas that I had for either offense or defense. And then with the Jedi team, we were going to build a Bastila Shan team with a few of the Jedi and things that are easy to get. And I was going to try to cheese it and just put Fives and Barriss in this team and just kind of make it a mixed Galactic Republic Jedi team. And just try to do it with characters that I knew were good, that I knew I would want later for other things. You build a Fives, he has a ship, and he goes in a clone team. There's always going to be a reason to build that Fives. So I wanted him early. He's an easy character to access. So this was kind of the initial plan. And on a timeline, at first when I was doing the account updates, it was a little bit scattered, and I didn't have a very good system of organization or what I was doing. I was just documenting some things. So about nine weeks in, I was at level 78. We did get that Zeta material challenge unlocked right on time. That was a learning experience for me because I didn't realize that you had to have the Executrix, and the Executrix event itself required dark side ships. So I did have a little bit of a scramble there between level 70 and 78 when I figured out that I had to have Tarkin's ship, and Tarkin's ship needed the dark side fleet. So we had to go build a real quick Imperial TIE fighter in there to bridge the gap. I had to finish out the Geos. I really wasn't planning on spending that much time on Geos. Oddly enough, I really wasn't planning on building the Geo fleet, but I pretty much had to start working on that due to the event. And that paid off really well for me in the end. I was planning to build the Galactic Republic fleet again. I was planning Fives, Ahsoka, Jedi Knight Anakin. So, and with Bossk and the Houndstooth, that's all stuff that you need for that Negotiator fleet, Galactic Republic fleet. So that was my initial thought. And I ended up building into the Geos unexpectedly, but with great success. And as all people who are fans of my channel know, that's now in my starting guide as the preferred first fleet. We also figured out that CLS and the Rebel team, it didn't work out. And again, it was too many teams. I was trying to work on 6 teams all at once to try to, already build for Grand Arena. And it just didn't work. I really needed to focus on fleet and pilots. And I couldn't find the resources to get the stars onto that Rebel team. And Farm Boy Luke and Leia are just really not good characters. So it wasn't building a good arena team. It was going for CLS, of course. And then with CLS, I would need to build bounty hunters to get access to Chewbacca. And I didn't have the Raid Han yet. And it just, I realized how hard it was going to be to close out that CLS team early. So I abandoned it mid-stride and said, okay, that's not going to be one of my teams. About 9-10 weeks in, we abandoned that plan. At 13 weeks, we hit level 84, and that was when I got my first Zeta. We got the Geo Brute Alpha unlocked, and of course, Geo Brute Alpha, get that Zeta on there to get the Brute at the start of the battle. And that was the last time I ever lost a Galactic War. So a big milestone at that point. Of course, the Geos are fantastic at closing out those Galactic War wins. The Fleet Shard at 13 weeks was really getting away from me. So the Hyperdrive players had come in, and there were some Hyperdrive players that were also paid players that did invest in their fleets. And the Fleet Shard, I started to rise up and get toward top 10, and almost immediately got pushed right back out of the top 10 by the Hyperdrive bundle players that were smart enough to invest in some of their ships and characters after buying the bundle. So I couldn't even get top 20, and we started to really refocus again and on pilots and start just working on fleet stuff. We hit level 85 on day 95 of the account, so just over 3 months to get level 85. At 18 weeks, we got our first relic character, Snow Trooper. So to put that in perspective, I took 13 weeks to get to level 85, and within 5 weeks, I closed out my first relic character in the account. At 21 weeks, we did Relic the Geo Spy. I was just planning to put him like Relic 1, maybe Relic 3, just to give me a boost in fleet. And I ended up going to Relic 5 with him and never looked back. It's been fantastic having him in the fleet. I made him really fast because I was working on speed mods, and it has really messed up quite a few of my opponents in Grand Arena. They don't expect the Spy to be going that fast. He even outruns a lot of people's Vaders or typical teams that they would counter the Geos with. And if they bring in a team of 3 or more characters, there's a pretty good chance that the Geo Spy will just erase one of their characters before the battle even starts. So it started off, I just put the mods on him to work on speed mods. But knowing what a problem he's been for my opponents in Grand Arena, it's been really hard to justify taking those mods back off. So yeah, it's a neat little gimmick that's served me very well. At week 21, we also changed guilds, and I did this by going into the guild recruitment tool. If anybody goes into my Discord, there is a recruitment channel that just takes you to another Discord. And that Discord is just fantastic. You get in there, you apply for guilds, they get back with you. You also get offers just at random from people who see you in there and ask. And within a very short period of time, I applied to 5 guilds. I got 3 replies. Out of the 3 replies, all 3 of them invited me to join their guild. One of them did recognize my channel and said, "Oh, are you Darth Loquitur on YouTube?" And I said, "Well, if you know who I am, then I can't join your guild," because I didn't want to join the guild just out of name recognition, to be fair. But yeah, I got in. At that time, our guild was about 250 million Galactic Power guild. And I got in at, not even a million Galactic Power. And they took me in because they could see that I was focused. I was working on mods. I had some interesting stuff going on my account. I just told them I'll get my 600 tickets every day. I'll participate in everything, every time, all the time. And they said, "Good enough. That's what we're looking for. Well, you're hired." So proof that anybody who knows what they're talking about even a little bit and can represent themselves decently can get into almost any guild they want. You don't have to wait until you're level 85 and 2 million Galactic Power before you go for a good guild. Get yourself recruited based on your knowledge and your skill in the game and what you plan to do. At 26 weeks, we hit Relic Vader right at 6 months. We got first Watt Shard at week 27. A duplicate timeline there. Sorry about that. Week 32, we got our first Watt Tambor Shard. Oh, I'm sorry. 27. For week 27 was the first time we earned a Watt Tambor Shard, and week 32 was when we actually unlocked Watt Tambor at 4 stars. At week 37, we moved up to Division 9 in Grand Arena. Week 39, we finished out the Houndstooth. That's a ship that I've been farming pretty much since the node became available to me. So just to give you an idea, it was probably about 25 weeks of farming to get that Houndstooth closed out. 41, we got our nest to Relic 7. And of course, throughout, we were relicking characters for the Sea Journey. At week 45, we worked on our mod set for Sith Eternal Emperor, continued to work on those requirements. And at week 51, we have all the requirements met. We did a live stream, we started the event, and also got the Malevolence unlocked at that time. I honestly think I could have unlocked the Sith Eternal Emperor by now. We had this Commander Ahsoka Tano event. It was light side only. And if I spent the energy that I spent on that event instead on the dark side nodes, I'm pretty sure we would have had the Sith Eternal Emperor by week 52. But it wasn't efficient. I needed to grab those cat shards while I could, so that's what I did. We're still working on the Sith Eternal, but I honestly believe I would have had him unlocked right at 1 year. That would have been fantastic. If we want to just take a look at the Galactic Power, let's look through Galactic Power. And the first little bit, I wasn't very good about tracking the Galactic Power. I started that about week 13. So you can see at week 13, we had 565 Galactic Power. And then we climbed by about 30K per week. And by week 26, we were just under 1 million Galactic Power in the first half of the year. If we take a look at the second half of the year, we hit 1 million right at week 27. Then you could just see how we kept climbing. You can see the weeks, like week 32, we jumped up by quite a bit. We unlocked some new teams. We got new characters going. Whenever you do that, it boosts your Galactic Power by quite a lot. And then it settled in with a pretty steady rise. And then you see again it jumped over here about week 43. We started some more teams. And then we settled in for the final grind on the Sith Eternal Emperor. We didn't really do much except that journey for a lot of weeks here. You see we're just adding like 10,000 Galactic Power a week, just working on 1 or 2 characters at a time, getting them to gear 12, getting them to gear 13. Then we had a big jump here at week 49 to 50. And then we had another jump here in week 50 to week 51. Where we finally closed out those last relic characters and built everything up to get the Sith Eternal event going. And then week 52, that's this week, we're at 190. So if you average the second half of the year, it was 35,000 Galactic Power per week for the second half of the year. So overall, that's a lot. It's more than I expected, really, to develop 35,000 worth of, let's say, if not useful Galactic Power, then at least required Galactic Power. You know, some of the characters we had to build for the Sith Eternal journey aren't the greatest characters that we wish we'd sunk resources into. But overall, I believe that's pretty impressive progress per week. So just suffice to say, if you're a new player and you say, what's my benchmark? If you're using 35K a week as a benchmark, I believe that that's really aggressive. Okay, just to be fair, I think I'm very efficient in playing. I'm in a good guild, and that all contributes to how much Galactic Power I'm able to develop per week. Looking at mods, here's our distribution on mods after 1 year. We do have some pretty good mods. We've got 4 mods that are 25 or more speed in total. We've got 20 mods that are 20 speed or more total. And most of those mods have been converted to 6-dot mods at some point. So it's a little behind where I hoped I would be by this point. My mod score is 4.7. I get punished a lot because if you look at the mods that go from 0 to 5 speed, we have about 70, 80 mods maybe that are applied that don't have good speed substats. And this tool rates you very highly on your speed substats. So a lot of what I've said, a lot of what I've advertised in my channel is about building a mod inventory. So what I've done is I've built a lot of mod inventory, and you see that. I've got a lot of these mods at 7, 8, 9, 10 that need to be sliced someday. I haven't invested in the slicing yet. So I do have some pretty big chunks of mods over here that are not developed yet. So if I cared about the mod score specifically, I could easily improve my mod score by cleaning up these low speed mods on my characters, and I probably should do that at some point. And then slicing up some of these mods that are mid-range, like the 7 and 8 speed mods, and finding out if I'm really going to use them or develop them or not. But overall, yeah, it's not too bad. Not as good as I'd hoped. So we did have some really good success early. I felt like early on, we were really on a great track for mods. And then probably for the last 3 months or so, it feels like we're just kind of stuck. And the last few rounds of mod improvement that I've done, I really haven't got good statistics. And, statistics got to catch up with you sooner or later. So we had a good run at first, and then maybe not so prosperous of a run here for the last few months. We had a few nice 6-dot slices on stream that hit speed, so we did get some streamer luck on a few of these. But overall, I think I really need to dig in and sort through the early mods, some of the forgotten characters. Like, we were looking at Fives on stream a while ago, and he was level 73 with 1-dot mods, and I just hadn't done anything with him. And there's more characters like that, the Stormtrooper, a bunch of stuff like that I modded very early on. I just threw whatever junk mods I had, 2 months into the game, or 3. And so we really need to go back and fix those if we want to improve our mod quality and keep that coming up. And I also do need to reestablish a more firm cadence on my mod work. I was doing it every week in my updates, and then I stopped doing that, and I started doing mod clinics. And then the mod clinics take so long to do that I've kind of missed my cadence on that. So I need to figure something out so that we get a more established cadence on the mod work, and I think that'll help too. So some lessons learned over the course of the year. In terms of Zetas, I'm really happy with all the Zetas. I don't regret any of the Zetas that I've applied. We've committed 2 to Mon Mothma. We've committed 1 to Kylo Ren Unmasked, and he's not very well leveled. So there's a bunch of Zetas I put on, but honestly, I'm happy with all of them. Probably the biggest surprise for me, Dooku's Zeta, has been a massive surprise. We're using a tenacity set on him and throwing him into solos in Grand Arena, and he's been pulling his weight like crazy. So I've really been shocked at how effective Dooku has been and how effective that Dooku Zeta has been in Grand Arena. So the MVP Zeta that I would not have expected based on my prior experience definitely goes to Dooku. Bindo's Zeta, I think... I don't regret Bindo's Zeta, just maybe it was too soon. So I don't have a high-functioning Jedi team yet, and Bindo's Zeta really doesn't pay off until you have a good Jedi team, and also Bindo is very durable himself. So I probably could have waited on that Bindo Zeta. Again, I don't regret putting it on. It's going to be useful, for sure. Just may have been a little hasty trying to get that, to force it. So, and again, Zetas add a lot of galactic power, so it's galactic power that's in my account that really hasn't paid for itself. Grandmaster Yoda also isn't that well developed, and he hasn't been that big of an impact. However, his Zeta is very useful in Conquest. So again, whether or not I've needed that for Grand Arena or other game modes, it's definitely paid off in Conquest. No regrets there. And I would say I waited too long to put the Zeta onto Kylo Ren Unmasked. That pre-taunt is very useful, and I just didn't commit to it early enough, and really, if I had it to do over again, I would get that pre-taunt Zeta, and I probably would take Kylo Ren Unmasked all the way to Gear 12, just because there's been a lot of times where I feel like my Grand Arena defense teams are just a little too weak, and having him at Gear 12 just on that one character would be enough to take that little Sith team kind of to the next threat level. So I think that's what I learned from Zetas. Now, we did pretty much a straight to Galactic Legend journey here, but we did have a few relics that didn't have anything to do with the sea journey. The Snow Trooper was the first one, and the Troopers have been just a monster team for us. They've been good in Grand Arena. They've been good for my Squad Arena team. They've been good in Conquest. So just in terms of general utility, I've been very happy with how the Snow Trooper has worked out. The early game, his gear was very easy to get. So one of the reasons why I liked him as an early relic was simply because he was so easy to gear compared to some of the other characters. So we've enjoyed having him. Would I do it differently if I had it to do over again? I don't know. Because he was so easy to gear, and I'm not threatened by relics. Relics don't feel that hard to me. So, yeah, no, I think he's definitely paid for whatever materials we spent on relics. The Geo Spy also is very satisfying as a character and very useful as a ship. Enfys Nest has been one of my favorite characters. We've gotten so many solos with her in Grand Arena, 10 of 10. Any account that I build, I definitely would build Nest, and I would take her all the way to Relic 7 just because she can beat so many good teams, clean up easy teams, beat Geos, beat Padme, Old Republic, just a lot of stuff that she can take out. So very happy with Nest as well as a choice. So overall, would we say 1 year after building the account, the original goal was to try to do better than I did on my main account. So how are we doing? So first of all, suffice to say, the double shard drops makes a massive difference. The amount of characters that you can build, the amount of energy that you get back for working on gear because you don't have to farm so many character nodes all at the same time is impressive. It's a step change in the quality of the game that I really appreciate. We're getting Kyber every season. We're getting Red Box. I'm in a 292 million Galactic Power guild. First in fleet almost every day since week 21. First Galactic Legend under 2 million Galactic Power. We've got good income established. We're doing a lot of assault battles all the way to tier 2. We're getting credits. We're getting gear. All of that's established. So, again, you guys tell me, based on what you've seen from the account, from its progress, how do you feel about it? How do you feel about how good of an account this is? Because I feel like it's good. I mean, it's not a Grand Arena winning account. That's not how I built it. But if you were a new player and you built this account, I think you'd be very satisfied with how it performs in the first year. Some things to consider that we've done with this account, just to recap. We were selling gray mods on the left side. Early in the game, you're always constrained by credits. You never have enough money to do what you want to do. By selling those mods, it freed up income for me to work on the mods and work on other characters and have credits. And as about, week 33, 35, something like that, I started developing those gray mods instead of selling them off, and I immediately ran out of credits. Literally, the week that I decided to do that, I ran myself out of credits. The difference between working on those mods or just getting rid of them is massive. Now, the reason why I feel so confident about selling those mods off, when you farm mods out of the nodes, you get far more mods for those areas than you do, especially of the arrow, the triangle, or the cross. So by selling off the gray mods, it actually kind of balances out and gives you the same number of mods to work on for all 6 slots. So I feel like there's a hidden benefit to it, and the amount of credits that it generated over the course of this account has been massive. I'll do that for the rest of this account, I think. I won't ever work on gray mods for the left side. I think this also shows the power of early game Cantina refreshes. I focused a lot on getting 3 Cantina refreshes. I even sacrificed my refreshes on mods or energy or fleet energy, whatever I had to do to get those early game Cantina refreshes. And being able to build up your Cantina characters, and at first I was using some of those Cantina refreshes just to over-farm the Kylo Ren mod and get currency for the shard shop. And then it allowed me to get a lot of signal data and still be able to farm characters while getting signal data. I can't say enough about getting these Cantina refreshes. It seems inefficient because it's 100 crystals instead of 50. You get the same amount of energy, but the difference that it makes in your build path is huge. The value of parking requirements at R0. So for the sea route journey, we took a lot of characters to Relic 0. We left them there until we were ready to get C. And the amount of control that gave us in matchups in Grand Arena, it helped a lot. And I think for the future, I'm gonna do that on my main account as well as on my alt account, where either I'm gonna take a relic level character to its full relic level because I have a purpose for it, and if I don't specifically have a purpose for it, it's just going to get parked at relic 0 until we're done with the journey, just to help manage that galactic power in the matchups in Grand Arena. Definitely something for people to consider. Use of the fleet store. At the start of this account, I said, we're going to do well in fleet. We're going to cash in tons of fleet arena currency, and we're going to get way ahead on Zetas. On my main account, it was a problem from day one. Since then, I've had a little more time to analyze it. I've got a better feel for it with my alt account. And it turns out that what really happened with the main account is I was spending money on it, and I was simply pushing the characters ahead faster than I could keep up with the Zetas. So it always felt like I was extremely starved on Zeta materials. On the Loquitur account, because I haven't spent to push that progress, I've been able to keep up fairly well with the Zetas. I've been using the fleet shop in a different way, and it's been, to my opinion, far more successful, and it comes down to 3 main elements. First of all, I build up a bank account in the fleet so that I've always got fleet currency to buy what I want to buy. Second, any characters or ships that can be purchased out of the fleet store, I'm not farming. I'm not getting them out of any other store. I'm getting them simply out of the fleet store. Things like Ezra Bridger, I didn't farm Ezra Bridger from the Cantina nodes. And believe me, when you're trying to farm all kinds of signal data, you don't want to farm Cantina nodes for a character. So by buying him out of the fleet arena store, I sacrificed some fleet arena currency, but built a whole character. And at 33 purchases, that only equates to, 7 Zeta materials? So would you rather have 7 scraps of a Zeta or a full 330 shards of Ezra Bridger? So it occurs to me that farming these characters out of the fleet store is massively efficient. The third thing, with that bank, there's often stuff that I want to buy out of the shard shop where I'm just a few currency off, and I don't want to let the shard shop refresh and let that gear get away from me. So what I do is I go back into the fleet store and I cash in 1 or 2 of the ships that I already have maxed out, generate currency for the shard shop, and get to utilize that currency then to get the gear that I want. And especially if it's stun guns that are showing up in the shop over there, or the med packs, or the Mark 7 detonators. I use those all the time. So anytime they show up in the shard shop, I want to be able to purchase them. And flexing this fleet store in those 3 ways, build a bank account and get what you're focusing on all the time when it shows up. Buying everything that I can from the shard shop or fleet shop instead of somewhere else, and then feeding the shard shop sometimes. And I have not missed getting the extra Zeta materials. So in a given week, if I place first and get 1,800 currency per day, I would say I'm still buying 2 or 3 Zeta materials every week out of the fleet store, even using it for characters, using it for ships, using it to feed the shard shop occasionally. We're still cashing in 2 or 3 extra Zeta materials every week. So I feel like that's been a huge step change in my success for building in this account. Something to think about for other people. The Mon Mothma team, I built a Mon Mothma team with 3 fighters and Chupio. I did it on my main account. I wanted to do it on this alt account just to see if it could be effective at very low level. And I am shocked at how well this team does. We've seen time and time again taking it on offense in Grand Arena. It punches up against much better teams. You can resurrect the character that dies. The healing and protection recovery that you get gets you full banners with this team. It's very effective in 5v5s. It's less effective in 3v3, but very effective team in 5v5. I've been impressed with it. Would recommend that to almost anybody who wants a a little squad to go up against other little squads. Very easy to build. And that Chupio spreading 20% of Mon Mothma's stats across everybody again is really a big deal. We had to build the TIE bomber for our sea journey, and that's on the same node as Queel. So we built up Queel, and we were using his Zeta to share his stats with other scoundrels. And I built him up and threw him in a low-level bounty hunter team, and his stat improvements, what he gives over to that bounty hunter team, has made that a tough little squad, and we've seen hold after hold in Grand Arena with that, or opponents wasting really good teams on it. So I've been impressed with Queel. He's not a great character on his own, but he's like salt and pepper. He makes all the other teams that he goes in a little bit better. Nest as a one-character kill squad for Conquest and Grand Arena. I can't express enough the value of using one character to beat a whole team of good characters is just its efficiency at its best. And in Conquest, there's certain teams that are very hard to beat. You just throw Nest in solo and you 3-star those nodes. So that character, I think, one of the best single characters in the game that you can build. Not terribly useful at fitting into teams and stuff like that, but just on her own, monstrosity. What didn't work? The original fleet plan that I had, if anybody goes all the way back to the beginning of my videos, I had a plan for getting the fleet materials, but I did make the mistake of not understanding the Tarkin need for dark side ships, so I had to rearrange that. We talked about the CLS team not working out. Emperor Palpatine and Thrawn are both requirements for C. I don't like the Phoenix team. They're just, to me, they're purely bloat. And I was trying to avoid building the Phoenix team, but as soon as I decided I wanted to go for the Sith Eternal Emperor, then I have to build him because there's no other way to get Thrawn. And to be fair, I didn't know at the very start of the account that C was going to be my path. I did debate several different paths once I got started. I did decide to go for the quick Galactic Legend at some point. But yeah, so I do kind of wish that I had built up Palpatine and Thrawn sooner, because Thrawn would have helped in some of the battles very early on, let's say 6 months in or so. I missed that character in Grand Arena because of what he can do with Fracture. So he is a character that's good to get early on. You don't have to build him right away. And even in some builds now, I've told people, focus on your fleet first, work on your geos. You can kind of let your Phoenix sit on the side. You pass him up quickly, and some people say, well, I'm not finished with him yet. There's still a couple characters that are 5 or 6 stars, and should I keep working on their stars, or should I be working on my fleet? Well, you work on your fleet. But then at some point, you should come back, finish him out, get that Thrawn going, because he is such a good character that it's good to build him early. I didn't get the pilotless ships worked into my rotation early enough. I was working on Hound's Tooth, and I just didn't do it. I didn't expect Malevolence to come along as quickly as it did for the Galactic Republic fleet. I didn't build the BTLB Y-Wing because I was building Hound's Tooth, and I said, okay, Hound's Tooth is good enough. But in the end, I feel like I'm in a worse position because I could flex that Hound's Tooth either with my Geo fleet or with my Galactic Republic fleet if I had the alternate tank for the Galactic Republic fleet. So just trying to look ahead, trying to always stay planning for the future. But those ships just kind of didn't fit in the plan. I've always been farming enough hard nodes. I don't really know how I could have fit them in on top of what I was already building. But now I find myself with both the Malevolence and the Negotiator and just behind on getting my pilotless ships up and running. So that's something I should have done earlier. Lessons learned. I did not remember at all how hard it was to get past Fleet 5E normal. The one with all the little TIE fighters. So there's 2 ways that I found to get through it. One is to build a good tank, like if you get the Hound's Tooth up and running, or you get a Hyena bomber very early on. You can beat that with a good tank, or you can beat it with high damage ships where you can very quickly kill a couple of those TIE fighters. But that node is just tough. So if anybody's in the early game, they're struggling to get past 5e normal, just understand I struggled with it for a long time, and longer than I felt like I should, but that was a very hard node to beat. Another lesson I learned, I honestly believe that my method for farming, for using the shops, for generating relic level characters is extremely effective. We've got 17 relics at a year, a Galactic Legend on the way. We spent $160, and for anybody who knows, if you're free to play, you say, oh, that $160 makes a big difference. But for anybody who spends money on this game, $160 worth of crystals is nothing. It does a lot less than you think, but it did help me, especially with those early Cantina refreshes, to get that established. So that is an advantage that I've had. But I don't see evidence out there that other people are doing something better. I've seen a few other streamers who are showing what their accounts look like, and I think I have the fastest development of any streamer out there. I don't know that that's true. I don't have any empirical evidence of it, but almost 2 million galactic power and a Galactic Legend at 1 year, I think that's pretty hard to beat, guys. I feel like I've done a good job in the efficiency department of turning my materials into effective galactic power. Let me know in the comments below. If you don't agree, if you know somebody who's doing better, let me know, because I'm always interested in learning things, and if there's somebody out there that I can learn from, toss it in there. So GAC specific, just want to go through a few things that are specific to Grand Arena that might help other new players who are working their way up into Grand Arena. I thought very early on, I have to have a solution for Geos. If I can't get through Geos, then the Grand Arena is over. Same thing with Jedi Knight Revan. He is such a prevalent early game character. I felt like I really need an answer for JKR teams. The Troopers answer JKR very well. They're good at beating that team. And Vader, of course, is good at beating Geos as well as other things. And the Troopers, of course, mowed down plenty of Geos early on. Very satisfying snowtrooper massacres of Geos that happened in this account. So we planned for that, and we executed it very well, and we haven't had a problem with those teams the whole time. We have decent fill teams. We've been able to bring up some other little... like the Mon Mothma team, like the little Queel teams that we've built, the Bounty Hunter teams. We've built some fill teams that at least take some resources away from our opponents. We've had good flex teams with Padme, Mon Mothma, even Enfys Nest. I've used her on defense a few times against teams where it was appropriate to just shut them down. I've had the mod advantage versus most opponents. I really feel like, especially with like the quality of the mods, the speed, how hard some of my characters hit, I'm well ahead of other opponents at my same level most of the time. And you can feel it when you go up against an opponent who knows what he's doing, has good mods on his characters. You can feel the difference in how the Grand Arena plays out. So we've got we're pretty good there. Like I said, I think it could be better, but we're in pretty good shape. I have a Zeta disadvantage in almost all of my Grand Arena matchups, and it's similar to my main account. I push progress faster than most people, and I feel like because I build the galactic power faster than most other accounts, I do get left behind on Zetas. So if you look at a 1.9 million account that took 18 months to build, they've had 6 more months of routine Zeta collection than I've had. And that's what I see in a lot of these matchups. Like I'll have 25 Zetas and they'll have 32 Zetas. So it kind of feels like that. It feels like about anywhere from a 30 to a 50% Zeta advantage that I'm giving up. So that's interesting. But yeah, it's happening again on this account. But I don't feel like I'm lacking key Zetas. Like on my main account, if I had another 10 Zetas, I still wouldn't be caught up on where I need to be. I'd probably need another 20 of them. But on this account, I feel like I'm okay. I feel like I've got Zetas on the characters where I need them. I'm not behind on Zeta-ing, but definitely some opponents getting ahead of me. If I had it to do over from the start, I think the one thing that I would definitely do differently, because I love PvP so much, I would consider building Jedi Knight Revan right away. It probably should have been my very first project straight out of the box. Get to level 85, get Jedi Knight Revan, get him into the account. I didn't want to do that. I thought I could do the CLS team, and the Jedi team that I had planned out was kind of a lackluster team of just building enough Jedi to do some events. But I miss it. And in Grand Arena, I don't have, and still to this day, I really don't have an effective answer for a Padme team that has C-3PO in it, for example, or a Padme team with a high potency Anakin where I can't bring in my nest. I really don't have an answer. And you guys have seen it. The loyal fans have seen that a few Grand Arenas just got held up by a good Padme team. I can't get through them. And Grievous as well. We've struggled against Grievous. We've had a few Grievous wins where we've been able to take in multiple teams and just grind him down and finish him out. There's been a couple times where we have not been able to finish him out. But Jedi Knight Revan works for both of those weak points. Also, because I didn't plan to go for Gas and I didn't plan to go for Malak, I very easily could have just committed to Hermit Yoda right from the start of the game, dumped my guild event tokens 1 into Hermit Yoda, and then I could have had a JKR team that included Hermit Yoda, and it would have been very effective for dealing with Grievous and Padme. And it's a bit of a shame that I didn't do that or didn't think of it, but I think that's the one thing in terms of teams and character building that I would do differently if I had it to do over again. Get that Jedi Knight Revan, get that counter to the Padme teams. I'd build up Revan and Yoda a little more, Jolie Bindo a little more. And it would have cost me a couple months probably on my journey to get a Galactic Legend. But, it would have probably been a lot more Grand Arena wins between now and then. Again, I got Kyber, so I can't complain. But, again, just looking over my shoulder, it's probably something I would have done. Also would help with the events, conquest, other things that require Jedi. So maybe a half Gladiator build, right? Just go for the Jedi Revan, don't finish it out with Darth Revan and Malak, and then go into a Galactic Legend. So I think that's a change I would make if I did it a third time. In terms of Galactic Power control, I think I was looking for an 11 out of 10, like super tight control of my Galactic Power. And I still made some mistakes. I still have some bloat. I'm giving myself an 8 out of 10. I had those CLS requirements that didn't go anywhere, so there's about 18K worth of characters with, Luke and Leia and Old Ben that really haven't done anything for me. Slave 1 has been completely useless. I took that ship to 7 stars. My Boba Fett isn't even that well built. He's like Gear 8 or Gear 9. And that ship is 35,000 galactic power that hasn't done a thing for me since I built the account. That's a more than a Relic 7 character that I've got tied up in a ship that's just useless. I put level 50 on Home 1. I thought I was going to build it up a little bit as my second fleet, but I got the Negotiator online pretty quickly. We were just using Home 1 as a placeholder on defense. So I don't think that I even got enough use out of the level 50 Home 1 to justify, putting that at level 50 or taking the Akbar to 7 stars in Gear 8 as a pilot. So Akbar himself is useless. The ship, I could have left it at level 1. I don't think it would have hurt me. It didn't really help. So I did give that recommendation to some people, 6-8 months ago to put a little bit of effort into Home 1. But I think at this point, you build one capital ship early and try to get into a good guild and get your first Get 1 fleet at a reasonable time. And then you'll have, let's say, Tarkin and either the Negotiator or the Malevolence, and that's fine. So I feel like that's wasted galactic power. I did waste some galactic power on conquest feat characters. We built Zam to get a detonator feat. We built a Dark Trooper to get Deathmark feat. And there's been a few other characters that we've built pretty much just to get through conquest and get all the stuff for a red box. Probably 30K that we didn't have to build there, but again, I wanted the red box, so it's a sacrifice that we make. And the last thing I would say, I built the Malevolence. I was excited. I got Grievous going, got the Malevolence going. But in play testing it with a Relic Tarkin, the Geos are fine. The Malevolence is an upgrade from the Tarkin ship, but until I get Grievous to a Relic level, it's not really that much of an improvement. And all in all, not to say that I didn't or shouldn't have done it, it's just too soon. I didn't need to do it yet. So just, 8 out of 10 for Galactic Power Control. Then I want to talk about the great Galactic Legend debate of 2021. It's still split among streamers and people who say, don't bother with a Galactic Legend. You have to build characters that you don't want. You have to take high relics on characters that you don't really want to be high relicked. So don't waste your time on a Galactic Legend early. I'm a big fan of building a Galactic Legend quite early in your build path. And I've gone on record as saying, by the time you're 2 million Galactic Power, if you're not already working on a Galactic Legend journey, it has to be your next big project after you finish whatever you're working on. I think getting a Galactic Legend by 3 million Galactic Power, to me, is important because in Grand Arena, you will end up facing people who do have a Galactic Legend. And if you don't, it's a mismatch that if your opponent's smart, they can use against you. Of course, there's a lot of people with Galactic Legends who you can still outplay if you have a bunch of meta teams. So people who are hardcore for Grand Arena say, build 5, 6, 7 of these core teams, Grievous, CLS, Revens, Padme, get these core teams in place and you'll win more Grand Arenas. And they're not wrong. But I think in terms of total gameplay, in terms of playing the whole game, a Galactic Legend is important. It gets you squad arena placement that you wouldn't otherwise have. It helps you in territory battles to score for your guild. A lot of Galactic Legends are good in raids. So I feel like it's a thing, right? So I want to address specifically with my Darth Loquitur account, what do I think? So people say it takes too long to build a Galactic Legend. It took me 1 year, right? It took me a year. But it didn't seem that long, right? It doesn't seem crazy long to work for a year and get a Galactic Legend. I've heard plenty of times, it's not fun. It's not fun building a Galactic Legend. You're locked into the characters that you have to build. But we built a Padme team. We built a Troopers team. We built a Vader team. We used all the characters for this journey to have tons of fun along the way. And for people who say it's no fun to build a Galactic Legend, I say you're full of beans. This account has been fun. I have fun playing it in Grand Arena. I have fun playing it in other game modes. I have fun challenging myself to try to build these things efficiently. I'm in a good guild. I don't know what it is that would take away the idea that it's fun. I think if you built nothing but a Galactic Legend, I don't think that would be fun. But again, we built some other stuff to help us along the way. We didn't just go straight into a Galactic Legend like fools. We built an account. So I think that's key to it. You have to build an account, not just a Galactic Legend. But if you look at the Loquitur account, I don't think you could possibly say that this account isn't fun. You miss out on good meta teams. Okay, that's true. I've got Padme at a really shoddy Padme team. It's one relic character. I don't have Revens. I don't have CLS. Don't have Grievous up and running yet. So did I miss out on a lot of meta teams? Yeah, okay, that part's true. But I don't miss them in terms of income because I've got a Sith team that's getting me income. I've got a Jedi team that's doing okay. Sure, they could do better if I have Revan, but they're okay. Troopers get me all kinds of stuff. get me all kinds of wins in Conquest and in the Galactic challenges. So even though I don't have the meta teams, I don't necessarily miss them at this moment. It's not the best in GAC, I've heard. That's correct. If you're trying to win the whole GAC, if you're saying, I want to place number 1 in Grand Arena, I want to be, the champion. Okay, well, that takes a special account, and this ain't it. And no Galactic Legend push is going to be the top of Grand Arena. But can we agree that Kyber is enough? Can we agree that getting Kyber, winning most of your matchups, is enough in Grand Arena to make it fun? If we can agree to that, then there goes another argument down the drain. I'm building a Galactic Legend. I'm hitting Kyber every time. Don't like the bloat from a Galactic Legend? The bloat from a Galactic Legend becomes free fill teams. You might not like Krennic, but he's a relic character. The opponent has to deal with him. Even with just decent mods, not even good mods, just mediocre stuff, he's still a relic 4 character that can hit pretty hard. And if you don't bring something in to deal with him, you'll lose a lot of banners. So you get free fill teams, especially at a low level, that will help you. Darth Maul, not that great of a character, but if you put Darth Maul in a team with Darth Sidious and make them fast enough, they can jump across and steal a whole bunch of banners. You'll lose. The opponent will still win that matchup. But in Grand Arena, a lot of times just costing people banners is already enough. So you get fill teams out of it. And I think that's been fine for the Loquitur account. You get bad GAC matchups because of your high top end on your account. My matchups have been fair so far. Challenging. I've had challenging opponents. I've had some good opponents that know what they're doing. But that's fine with me. If I didn't have good opponents in Grand Arena, I don't think it'd be fun. And some people build these accounts where they control the galactic power to low end. They only relic 1 their characters. They keep everything low to the ground. And you get a lot of matchups against people with, 4 or 5 high relic characters and a whole bunch of garbage. And to me, it's a bit like beating up a 5th grader. It's easy. How's it fun? The matchups where I go in against my opponent and just walk through their defense without even getting challenged, I don't enjoy those Grand Arenas. I like things that stretch my imagination and make me use clever teams and beat Grievous with a combination of Newt, Gunray, and Phoenix. I mean, that's you don't get that unless you got a good opponent that you're fighting. So I'll close this out by saying I don't really make this statement to establish a position of right and wrong. Is it right to build a Galactic Legend early? Is it wrong to build a Galactic Legend early? I don't think that's what the discussion needs to be about. I think there's a lot of options in this game. There's a lot of things you can do. There's a logic behind building a Galactic Legend early. And suffice to say, the point that I want to make with the Loquitur account, you can build that early Galactic Legend. You can have fun with your account. You get fair Grand Arena matchups. There's no reason to be afraid of it. The only thing that holds people back, in my opinion, is they're scared of relics. They feel like it's just so many relic characters that you have to build. But if you watch my relic guide, if you pay attention to how I'm getting the materials to relic these characters, it's not stressful. 1 relic character every 3 weeks. You just work your way through it. It's not bad. I believe the Loquitur account proves that you can build an early Galactic Legend, enjoy the game, and not have to spend a ton of money. What do you think? Again, comment down below. Watching this Loquitur account, for better or for worse, how has it helped you? How has it hurt you? What have you noticed that you've done differently because you watched me make mistakes? Whatever you have to say, leave the comment down below. This has been a long video. If you're still with me, thank you all so much for sticking around for this long. You've got to be a true fan. Thank you all for your time. I appreciate it. We just passed 1,000 Inquisitors over on Discord. It's a fantastic community. If you're not over there, get on in there. We're running some giveaways right now. You can get a $25. You can enter to win a $25 gift card. So a lot of fun over there on Discord. Get on over. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to watch more videos like this in the future. Hit the like button on your way out if you haven't done so already. Remember, the like saber needs to be applied. Slash it, slice it, dice it, cut it in half. Get it out of here. Thank you all for watching. Appreciate your time. And I will see you in the next holocron.